Dr. King galvanized Branch and focused his attention on all that was at stake in the fight for civil rights. Nothing less, ladies and gentlemen, than the soul and spirit of American democracy and freedom. But what Branch does so brilliantly in all three volumes is precisely the opposite of adhering to grand outlines. Rather, he gets down in the trenches, laboring literally among the day-to-day details, the funk and nitty-gritty of events that have passed into American textbook history as cornerstones of our knowledge of the civil rights movement. Branch's unrivaled accomplishment in the trilogy is to humanize an icon, is to humanize Dr. King and the movement without making either seem any less monumental for their humanity, for their flaws. As an active journalist and accessible public intellectual, Branch is a leading voice in the national dialogue about the history and continuing impact of the civil rights movement. It is my pleasure and privilege to present Taylor Branch with the Anisfield-Wolf Book Award for Lifetime Achievement in recognition of his relentless and meticulous devotion to bringing Dr. King and the movement to life, and for fundamentally sharpening our understanding of this most gripping period in the history of the nation.
I want to pay tribute to Cleveland in a kind of backhanded way. The idea of having an award for 75 years focused on race is unique and amazing, because I believe that in race relations in particular, we learn by storytelling. We are taught as Westerners to believe that the abstract commands the particular and that we learn by abstraction and analysis. But the sad truth of race is that when we get into abstraction, we have a powerful and sad history. This is what race and war is born from, of making our ideas into myth rather than truth. I believe that in race relations we learn by making things so human that we forget all the categories that we use to analyze things just for a moment and then rearrange them. And the remarkable journey of Dr. King, ambushed by the Vietnam War when America was too afraid to be nonviolent, when we got stuck on Vietnam as the model for how to create freedom, with the civil rights movement sitting right under our noses as a far better model. Nonviolence is an orphan among democratic ideas. It has nearly vanished from public discourse, even though the most basic element of free government, the vote, has no other meaning. Every ballot is a piece of nonviolence, signifying hard-won consent to raise politics above firepower and bloody conquest. Such compacts work more or less securely in different lands. Nations gain strength from vote-based institutions in commerce and civil society, but the whole architecture of representative democracy springs from the handiwork of nonviolence. America's founders centered political responsibility in the citizens themselves, but nearly 2 centuries later, no one expected a largely invisible and dependent racial minority to ignite protests of steadfast courage. Boycotts, sit-ins, freedom rides, jail marches, dramatized by stunning forbearance and equilibrium into the jaws of hatred. During the short career of Martin Luther King Jr., between 1954 and 1968, the nonviolent civil rights movement lifted the patriotic spirit of the United States toward our defining national purpose. Thank you.